I'm Jake, and last Friday night, my whole damn world blew up in my face. It wasn't some loud explosion with sirens and smoke. No, it was quieter, sharper, like a knife sliding between my ribs. New York City's always been a pressure cooker, all those skyscrapers and honking cabs hiding secrets in plain sight. But I never thought my own apartment, my own kitchen, would be the place where I'd get hit with the kind of betrayal that makes your blood boil and your fists clench so hard your knuckles turn white. It started with a text. Not even my text, hers. Emily's. My wife of 10 years. 10 freaking years of late-night talks, stupid arguments over the thermostat, and what I thought was a rock-solid marriage. She'd left her phone on the counter, screen lit up like a neon sign, while she ran to grab her purse from the bedroom. I wasn't snooping. Hell, I was just pouring myself a coffee, but the damn thing buzzed, and my eyes flicked over. Big mistake. Can you come earlier? Can't wait to see you again. That's what it said, glowing there in black and white. Sender? Mike Work. My heart slammed into my chest like a runaway subway train. I stood there, coffee mug shaking in my hand, staring at those words. Earlier? See you again? What the hell was this? I swiped the screen, unlocked, thank God for her lazy habits, and scrolled. My pulse was pounding in my ears, loud enough to drown out the traffic outside. There it was, a whole thread of messages that didn't sound like work at all. Stuff about hotel bars, late nights, and crap like, you looked so good last time. My stomach twisted into knots. This wasn't some coworker chit-chat. This was intimate, personal, stuff no married woman should be typing to anyone but her husband. And then I saw it. Meet me at the Hudson Lounge tonight. 8 p.m. Tonight. Right now. Emily breezed back into the kitchen, all smiles and perfume, like nothing was wrong. She leaned in, pecked my cheek, and said, "Hey, I'm heading out for dinner with some colleagues. Don't wait up, okay?" Her voice was light, casual, like she hadn't just stabbed me in the back. Sure, I managed to choke out, keeping my tone flat. I didn't blink, didn't flinch. She didn't deserve to know I was onto her. Not yet. The door clicked shut behind her, and I sank into a chair, still clutching her phone like it was a live grenade. My hands were shaking, but not from fear. Anger. Pure, red-hot anger was burning through me, lighting up every nerve. 10 years. 10 years. And she's sneaking off to some swanky lounge with this Mike Work guy while I sit here like a chump? I could have called her right then, screamed at her to come home, and explain herself. But that's not me. I don't just react, I plan. I stew. And right then, staring at that glowing screen, I knew yelling wouldn't cut it. She'd cry, lie, twist it all around until I felt like the bad guy. No, this needed something bigger, something that'd hit her where it hurt, something that'd make her feel the same gut punch I was feeling right now. I grabbed my laptop and started digging. Mike Work wasn't hard to find. A quick search on Facebook, and boom, Michael Carter, some hotshot corporate lawyer with a slick grin and a life full of fancy suits and rooftop parties. There he was in a photo from some gala, arm around a woman who wasn't Emily. My Emily was right next to him, though, smiling like she belonged there. My stomach churned, but then I zeroed in on the other woman, petite, brunette, all polished and perfect. Sarah Carter, his wife. That's when the idea hit me, sharp and clear through the haze of rage. If Emily and Michael thought they could play this game behind my back, they were about to learn I wasn't the type to just roll over. Sarah deserved to know what her sleazy husband was up to, and maybe, just maybe, she'd be the key to making them both pay. I tossed Emily's phone back on the counter and grabbed my jacket. The Hudson Lounge was waiting, but I wasn't going there yet. First, I had a stop to make. This wasn't over, not by a long shot. They'd lit the fuse, and I was about to bring the whole damn fireworks show. The next morning, I was up before the sun, my head still buzzing with rage like a hornet's nest had been kicked over inside me. New York City was waking up too, horns blaring, delivery trucks rumbling, but all I could hear was that text echoing in my skull. Can't wait to see you again. Emily had come home late last night, all fake yawns, and work was exhausting, while I sat on the couch, pretending to watch TV. She didn't know I knew. Not yet. But I wasn't just going to sit there and let her and Michael Carter laugh behind my back. I had a plan, and it started with Sarah. I'd found her on Michael's social media. Sarah Carter, the polished brunette in the gala photo, smiling like she had no clue her husband was a cheating dirtbag. She lived in his Upper East Side high-rise, some gleaming tower of glass and steel that screamed money. That's where I went, parking myself across the street with a coffee in hand, waiting like a hunter stalking prey. My hands were still shaky from the night before, but the anger was steady now, cold and focused. Around 9 a.m., she stepped out, tailored coat, leather bag, heels clicking on the pavement like she owned the damn city. I tossed my coffee in a trash can and crossed the street, cutting her off before she could disappear into the Saturday crowd. "Sarah Carter?" I said, keeping my voice polite but firm. She stopped, sizing me up with sharp hazel eyes. "Yeah, who are you?" "Name's Jake," I said, stepping closer. "We don't know each other, but we've got something in common. Our spouses." Her brow furrowed, confusion flashing across her face. "What are you talking about?" I pulled out my phone, opened the screenshot of Emily's text with Michael, and held it up. "Your husband and my wife. They're screwing around. Thought you might want to know." Her eyes locked on the screen, scanning the words. For a second, I thought she'd brush me off or freak out, but she didn't. Her face went pale, then hard, like stone hardening in a fire. She grabbed the phone from my hand, scrolling through the messages herself, lips pressing into a tight line. "You're sure this is real?" she asked, voice low, trembling just a little. "Caught it on her phone last night," I said. "They met up at the Hudson Lounge while I was sitting at home like an idiot. You tell me if that sounds real." She handed the phone back, her grip tight on her bag like she was strangling it. "That son of a bitch," she muttered, then looked up at me. "Why are you here? What do you want?" "I want them to pay," I said, plain and simple. "They think they're slick, sneaking around, living their little fantasy. I say we blow it up in their faces. You in?" Sarah stared at me, and I could see the gears turning behind those eyes. She wasn't some fragile flower ready to wilt. She was pissed, same as me. After a beat, she nodded. "Yeah, I'm in. Let's talk." We ducked into a cafe a block away, grabbing a corner table where the hum of the espresso machine drowned out the city noise. Over steaming lattes, I laid it all out. How I found the texts, how Emily lied to my face, how Michael's smug grin in that photo made me want to punch something. Sarah listened, sipping her coffee, her jaw tight. "He's been distant for months," she said finally, setting her cup down. "Late nights, client meetings, all that crap. I bought it. Guess I'm the fool now." "Nah," I said. "We're not the fools. They are, thinking they could pull this off without us catching on." She leaned forward, eyes narrowing. "So what's the move? You want to catch em in the act?" "Better," I said, a grin creeping onto my face despite the anger still simmering underneath. "They're meeting again tonight. Same place, the Hudson Lounge. I say we show up together, walk right in, and make it real damn clear their game's up. Let him squirm in front of everybody." Sarah's lips twitched, almost a smile. "You're a little crazy, Jake. I like it. But we need more than a scene. We need to hit him hard, make it stick." "Evidence," I said, nodding. "I've got the texts. You got anything on Michael?" She thought for a second, then smirked. "His laptop's at home. He's sloppy with passwords. I could dig." "Do it," I said. "We'll start tonight, but this ain't a one-shot deal. We're gonna dismantle their whole damn lives." By the time we left the cafe, the plan was locked in. Sarah was no pushover. She was sharp, ruthless, and just as ready to burn it all down as I was. As I headed home to wait for nightfall, my chest felt tight, not with pain anymore, but with something else, anticipation. Emily and Michael thought they were untouchable, sipping cocktails and laughing at us. Tonight, we'd show him just how wrong they were. Saturday night hit New York like a freight train, lights blazing, streets humming, and me, Jake, standing outside the Hudson Lounge with Sarah by my side. My heart was pounding, not from nerves but from the kind of adrenaline that makes you feel alive and dangerous. The place was all glass and gold, a ritzy joint where people like Michael Carter strutted around like kings. Tonight, though, that king was about to get knocked off his throne, and I couldn't wait to see his face when it happened. Sarah adjusted her coat, her hands steady but her eyes burning with the same fire I felt. "You ready for this?" she asked, voice low. "Born ready," I said, cracking my knuckles. "Let's make 'em choke on their martinis." We stepped through the doors, and the vibe hit me hard. Dim lights, clinking glasses, the smell of money and perfume hanging thick in the air. It was packed with the kind of crowd that whispered secrets over $20 cocktails. Sarah moved like she belonged, all cool and collected, while I followed, my boots heavy on the polished floor. I didn't fit in here, but that was the point. I wasn't here to blend. It didn't take long to spot them. Emily and Michael were tucked in a corner booth, all cozy and smug, like they owned the damn world. She was in some tight black dress I'd never seen before, laughing at something he said, while his hand rested on her knee under the table. My blood boiled, but I kept it together, locking eyes with Sarah. There they are, I muttered. Look at him, thinking they're so damn slick. Sarah's lips pressed into a thin line. Let's ruin their night. We walked over, steps slow and deliberate, like wolves closing in on prey. Emily saw me first. Her laugh died mid-breath, and her eyes went wide, like she'd seen a ghost. Michael turned his head, casual at first, then froze when he clocked Sarah. His hand jerked off Emily's knee like it had been burned. Sarah, he stammered, face going white. What are you doing here? Hey, honey, she said, sliding into the booth next to him with a smile that could cut glass. Thought I'd drop by. Don't let me interrupt. I didn't give Emily a chance to run. I slid in beside her, close enough to smell that floral crap she always wore, and leaned in. Hey, babe, I said, voice thick with sarcasm. Fancy seeing you here. Colleagues, huh? Her mouth flapped open, no sound coming out, like a fish drowning in air. Jake? I didn't, she stuttered, hands fumbling with her dress. Didn't what? I cut in, keeping my tone sharp. Didn't think I'd find out you're screwing around with this clown? Michael tried to play it cool, smoothing his tie. Jake, Sarah, let's not make a scene. We can talk this out. Talk. Sarah laughed, cold and sharp. Oh, we're past talking, Mike. You've been real busy, haven't you? Hotel rooms, late nights, sound familiar? The booth went dead quiet, but the bar didn't. Heads were turning now, whispers spreading like wildfire. Emily's face flushed red, her eyes darting around like a trapped animal. Jake, please, she hissed. Not here. Why not? I said, loud enough for the next table to hear. You picked this place to flaunt your little fling. What's wrong with me joining the party? Michael's jaw clenched, his cool guy act cracking. Sarah, if you've got a problem, we'll handle it at home. Nah, she said, leaning back with her arms crossed. You lost home privileges when you started banging her. So what's the story, Mike? Tell us how you two lovebirds met. I'm dying to hear it. He fumbled, words tripping over themselves. It's not what you think. Sure it ain't. I snapped, cutting him off. That's why she's got texts from you about how good she looked last time. Real professional, huh? A couple at the next table snickered, and Emily shrank lower in her seat, looking like she wanted the floor to swallow her. Good. Let her squirm. Michael's face was beet red now, his hands balling into fists on the table. This is ridiculous, he growled, shoving his chair back. Sarah, we're leaving. She didn't budge. You go ahead, she said, voice icy. I'm staying. Emily grabbed her purse, eyes pleading with me. Jake, let me explain. Save it, I said, blocking her way out. You've had months to explain. I'm done listening. They stumbled out of the booth, Michael dragging Emily toward the exit while the whole damn bar watched. Whispers followed them. Is that his wife? She's with him? And I felt a rush of savage satisfaction. Sarah and I stayed put, letting the chaos settle around us like dust after a storm. That felt good, she said, a smirk tugging at her lips. Yeah, I agreed, leaning back. But it's just the start. They're gonna wish they never crossed us. The night was young, and our war was just getting warmed up. After we sent Emily and Michael running from the Hudson Lounge, the high of that showdown stuck with me like a shot of whiskey, hot and satisfying, but it faded fast. By Sunday morning, I was pacing my apartment, the TV flickering in the background, my mind racing. Sarah and I had landed a solid punch, sure, but it wasn't enough. Humiliating them in front of a bar full of strangers felt good, but it didn't erase the knife they'd jammed in my back. We needed to hit deeper, make it hurt so bad they'd never sleep easy again. That meant evidence, cold, hard proof to burn their worlds to ash. I grabbed my phone and texted Sarah. You get into his laptop yet? She'd said Michael was sloppy with passwords, and I was banking on her pulling something big. My hands were already full. Emily's phone was still sitting on the counter where I'd tossed it last night, and I'd spent the morning combing through it like a detective on a murder case. Texts, emails, even her damn calendar. Every little detail was a brick in the wall I was building to bury her. Sarah's reply buzzed in. Got it. You won't believe this crap. Meet me at the cafe in an hour. My pulse kicked up a notch. Whatever she'd found, it was going to be good or bad, depending on whose side you were on. When I got to the cafe, Sarah was already there, hunched over a table in the back, her laptop open and a stack of papers next to her coffee. She looked up as I slid into the seat across from her, her eyes sharp and fierce, like a hawk ready to dive. "Jackpot," she said, sliding a printout my way. "Michael's been billing client dinners to the firm, hundreds of bucks a pop. Guess where? The Hudson Lounge, the Marriott Bar, all their little hookup spots. Receipts match the dates from your wife's texts." I scanned the page, my gut tightening. So he's not just a cheater, he's screwing over his job too? "Big time," she said, tapping the screen. "And that's not all. Found emails between him and Emily in his personal account. Dumbass didn't even delete him. Look at this. Can't stop thinking about last night." Sent from his work email. I let out a low whistle, flipping through the stack. This guy's begging to get caught. "What else?" Sarah smirked, pulling up a photo on her laptop. "This. From his cloud backup. Him and Emily at some rooftop bar, all over each other. Timestamps 2 weeks ago. The image hit me like a punch. Emily in that black dress, Michael's arm around her, both of them grinning like they'd won the lottery. My jaw clenched so hard I thought my teeth might crack. "Perfect," I growled. "This is gold." "I've got more," she said, leaning in. "His firm's got a big client meeting Monday. Partners will be there. What if this lands on their desks?" I grinned, the kind of grin that doesn't reach your eyes. "He's toast. They'll fire his ass faster than you can say lawsuit." "What about Emily?" Sarah raised an eyebrow. "That's your turf. What's she care about most?" "Her image," I said, leaning back. "She's all about that perfect wife, perfect mom crap. Runs the PDA like it's her kingdom, brags about our happy home to every neighbor on the block. If that falls apart, she's got nothing." "Then we hit her there," Sarah said, her voice dropping to a conspiratorial hush. "Spread this to her little social circle. Let him see what a fraud she is." I nodded, already picturing it. Emily's fake smile crumbling as her precious friends turned their backs. "I've got her email contacts. Every mom, every nosy neighbor. I'll blast it out tomorrow." For the next couple hours, we sat there, plotting like a couple of generals before a war. I pulled more from Emily's phone, sappy messages, hotel bookings, even a voice memo of her giggling about getting away with it. Sarah matched it with Michael's dirt. Bank statements showing cash withdrawals for their dates, a calendar invite for drinks that lined up with her texts. By the time we were done, the table looked like a crime scene, papers and coffee cups scattered everywhere. "Okay," I said, stacking the evidence into a folder. "Tomorrow we strike. You take his firm, I take her world. They won't know what hit him." Sarah nodded, her eyes glinting with something dark and dangerous. "They'll regret ever messing with us." I left the cafe with that folder under my arm, my steps heavy but sure. The city buzzed around me, taxis honking, lights flashing, but all I could feel was the weight of what we were about to do. Emily and Michael thought they'd played us for fools, built their little fantasy on lies. Tomorrow, we'd rip it all down, piece by piece. And I'd be damned if I didn't enjoy every second of watching them fall. Monday morning hit like a sledgehammer. I'd barely slept, my head spinning with the plan Sarah and I had locked in. Today was the day we'd drop the hammer on Emily and Michael. I'd spent the night finalizing an email blast to Emily's PDA crew and neighbors, every damning text and photo ready to go. Sarah was supposed to hit Michael's firm with the receipts and emails, torching his career. We were a team, two pissed-off spouses ready to bury our cheaters. Or so I thought. I met Sarah at her place, a sleek Upper East Side apartment that felt too quiet, too perfect. She'd texted me to come over before we launched everything. Said she had one last thing to show me. I walked in, folder of evidence under my arm, adrenaline pumping. The living room smelled like coffee and expensive candles, but something felt off. Her vibe was different, colder. "Morning," I said, dropping into a chair. "You ready to light the fuse?" She didn't answer right away. She stood by the window, arms crossed, staring out at the city like she was plotting something I couldn't see. Then she turned, and her eyes hit me like ice. "Jake," she said, slow and deliberate. "We need to talk." My gut twisted. "What's up? You got the stuff for his firm?" She smirked, but it wasn't the conspiratorial grin we'd shared before. It was sharp, mean. "Oh, I've got something. But it's not what you think. Before I could open my mouth, the door swung open, and Michael walked in. Cool as hell, suit crisp, that smug grin plastered on his face. My heart stopped. Emily trailed behind him, her eyes avoiding mine, lips pressed tight. I shot up from the chair, folder hitting the floor with a thud. What the hell is this? I barked, voice shaking with fury. Sarah, what's going on? She stepped closer, picking up a tablet from the coffee table and swiping it on. You're the one who's been cheating, Jake, she said, her tone dripping with fake pity. Not Emily. You. I blinked, my brain scrambling to catch up. What? That's insane. Save it. Michael cut in, leaning against the wall like he owned the damn place. Sarah's got proof. Show him. She turned the tablet toward me, and there it was, a string of texts, flirty and dirty, supposedly from me to some woman named Lisa. Photos too. Me with a blurry brunette at a bar, her hand on my arm. My stomach dropped. This is fake, I said, voice hoarse. I don't even know Elisa. Doesn't matter, Sarah said, shrugging. It's convincing. And it's already on its way to your boss, your friends, your family. You're done, Jake. I stared at her, then at Emily, who finally met my eyes. Hers were cold, triumphant. You set me up? I growled, stepping towards Sarah. We had a deal. She laughed, a short, bitter sound. You were useful, Jake. Got me the dirt I needed to flip this around. Michael and I worked it out. He told me everything after you crashed the lounge. We staged this to bury you instead. Michael chuckled, sliding an arm around Emily. You're too trusting, man. Should have seen it coming. My fists clenched, every muscle screaming to deck him, but I held back. My mind was racing. Those texts from Emily's phone, the receipts, the photos Sarah found. They'd played me from the jump, twisted it all to make me the bad guy. Why? I spat, glaring at Sarah. You were pissed at him too. Was, she said, cool as ice. But Michael's got more to offer. Money, power. You're just a loose end. Emily spoke up, voice soft but cutting. You should have let it go, Jake. We could have kept this quiet. Quiet. I roared, my anger boiling over. You cheated on me, and now you're framing me for it? You're all sick. Sarah stepped between us, tablet still in hand. Leave, Jake. It's over. You try to fight this, and we'll make it worse. Cops, lawsuits, whatever it takes. I stood there, chest heaving, staring at the three of them. Sarah's icy smirk, Michael's arrogance, Emily's betrayal cutting deeper than ever. The room felt like it was closing in, the city outside roaring through the windows. I'd walked in ready to win, and now I was the one with a target on my back. But I wasn't done. Not yet. They thought they'd broken me, but they'd just lit a new fire. I grabbed my folder and stormed out, their laughter echoing behind me. This wasn't the end, it was a detour. I'd find a way to turn this around, and when I did, they'd wish they'd never messed with me. I stumbled out of Sarah's apartment, the folder of evidence clutched tight under my arm, my head spinning like I'd been sucker punched. The city roared around me, horns blaring, lights flashing, but all I could hear was their laughter. Sarah's cold smirk burned into my brain. They'd flipped the script, framed me as the cheater with fake texts and photos, and sent it all to my boss, my friends, my life. I was drowning, but I wasn't going down without a fight. They'd underestimated me, and that was their mistake. Back home, I locked the door and dumped the folder on the table, papers spilling out like a crime scene. My phone was blowing up, texts from coworkers. Dude, what's this about? And a voicemail from my boss. We need to talk. I ignored it all. I had one shot to turn this around, and it started with what I already had. Emily's real texts, Michael's receipts, that rooftop photo. Sarah thought she'd outsmarted me, but I'd been recording our talks on my phone, a habit from years of covering my ass at work. Somewhere in there was the truth. I scrubbed through hours of audio, hands shaking, until I hit gold, a convo from the cafe 2 days ago. Sarah's voice, clear as day. Once we've got enough, I'll twist it. Michael, and I'll make it look like Jake's the one cheating. He won't see it coming. My heart pounded. This was it. Proof she'd set me up. I burned it onto a USB drive, my lifeline out of this mess. They'd planned a victory lap, a fancy gala in Midtown, some charity thing Michael's firm was sponsoring. Emily bragged about it in a text I'd found, all smug about showing off with him. Perfect. If they wanted a stage, I'd give him one they'd never forget. I dug out an old tux from the closet, wrinkled but good enough, and headed out, the USB in my pocket like a loaded gun. The gala was a sea of black ties and glitter, chandeliers casting gold over the ballroom. I slipped in, blending with the crowd, my pulse hammering. Emily and Michael were near the bar, laughing with some suits, Sarah hovering nearby like a shark in a dress. They looked untouchable, but not for long. I caught the eye of a tech guy fiddling with the AV setup. Young, bored, easy to bribe. $20 to play this when I signal, I said, slipping him the USB and some cash. He shrugged, pocketing both. Whatever, man. The host took the stage, droning about donations, and I edged closer to the front. Emily spotted me, her smile faltering, but Michael just smirked, whispering something to Sarah. They thought I was here to beg. Wrong. I nodded at the tech guy, and the speakers crackled to life. Sarah's voice boomed through the room. Once we've got enough, I'll twist it. Michael, and I'll make it look like Jake's the one cheating. Gasps rippled through the crowd. I stepped into the spotlight, holding up my phone with the original text from Emily. That's my wife and her lover, I said, loud and clear. They framed me. Here's the real proof. The room erupted. Whispers, shouts, phones snapping pics. Michael's face went gray, Emily's hands flew to her mouth, and Sarah lunged for the stage, screaming, "Turn it off." Too late. The tech guy looped the audio, and I tossed printouts of the receipts and photo into the crowd. People scrambled for them, jaws dropping as the truth hit. You're done, I said, locking eyes with Emily. All of you. Michael shoved through the chaos, yelling at the host, but the damage was done. Sarah grabbed his arm, her cool mask shattered, while Emily just stood there, tears streaking her face. I didn't stick around to gloat. The crowd was buzzing, snapping shots of their downfall. I walked out, head high, the night air hitting me like a victory bell. Back home, I cracked a beer and watched my phone light up, texts from buddies. Holy crap, you okay? And a news alert. Lawyers Gala scandal rocks firm. They'd wanted to bury me, but I clawed my way out and dragged them down instead. The war wasn't over, but this battle? Mine. The gala was like dropping a match in a gas tank. Everything went up in flames, and I was the one walking away from the wreckage. By Tuesday morning, New York City was buzzing with the fallout, and I was sitting in my apartment, coffee in hand, watching it all unfold like a damn movie I'd directed. Emily, Michael, and Sarah thought they'd buried me, but I turned their trap into their tomb. Now, it was time to see the ashes settle. Michael's firm moved fast. A press release hit my inbox by noon. Michael Carter has been terminated effective immediately due to ethical violations. The violations weren't just the affair. Those receipts I'd tossed at the gala showed he'd been skimming client funds for months. Whispers of lawsuits started circling, and his name was mud across every law office in Manhattan. The guy who'd smirked at me like I was nothing? He was a ghost now, blacklisted and broke. Emily's world imploded too. The PDA moms she'd ruled like a queen cut her loose. Texts I'd sent with her real affair pics hit their inboxes right after the gala. By Wednesday, she was persona non grata, her perfect mom act shredded. Neighbors stopped waving. Her social media went dark, and I heard through a buddy she'd been crashing at her sister's place in Jersey, hiding from the gossip. Good. Let her taste the isolation she'd left me with. Sarah vanished. No calls, no texts, nothing. Word was she tried to spin some story to Michael's partners, but with her voice on that recording, nobody bought it. She'd gambled on him and lost everything. I didn't care where she went. She was a snake who'd bitten me once, and I wasn't dumb enough to let her near me again. Thursday night, my phone rang, Emily. I let it go to voicemail, but she kept calling 5 times in a row until I finally picked up. What? I snapped, leaning against the kitchen counter. Jake, please, she said, voice shaky and raw. Can I come over? We need to talk. I almost hung up, but something, anger, curiosity, whatever, made me say fine. 15 minutes. She showed up looking like hell, hair messy, eyes red, no makeup to hide the bags underneath. She stepped inside, hands twisting together, and I crossed my arms, keeping the counter between us. Say what you gotta say, I told her, voice flat. I'm sorry, she started, tears spilling fast. I messed up, Jake. I never meant for it to go this far. Michael, it was stupid, a mistake. I still love you. Love. I laughed, cold and harsh. You don't cheat on someone you love. You don't frame him to save your own ass. That's not love, Emily, that's cowardice. She flinched, sobbing harder. I was scared. Scared of losing you, of being nothing. I don't know, I thought it'd fix something. Please, we can work this out. I'll do anything. I shook my head, the last threads of what we'd had snapping inside me. You had your chance. 10 years, and you threw it away for some slick lawyer. I filed for divorce yesterday. You'll get the papers soon. Her face crumpled, and she reached for me, but I stepped back. Jake, don't, she begged. We can start over. No. I cut her off, firm and final. You broke us. Live with it. She stood there, crying, then turned and left, her footsteps fading down the hall. I shut the door, leaned against it, and let out a long breath. It hurt. Damn, it hurt, but it was done. A week later, I met a buddy for beers at a dive bar downtown. The city felt different now, less suffocating. You good? He asked, sliding me a bottle. Yeah, I said, taking a swig. Getting there. Divorce is in motion, work's sorting out, boss believed my side after the gala. I'm free. He nodded. And Emily? Gone. I said, shrugging. Her and Michael are toast. Sarah too. They got what they deserved. We clinked bottles, and for the first time in months, I felt light, like I'd shed a weight I didn't know I'd been carrying. Revenge didn't fix the scars, but it cleared the fog. I knew who I was now, a guy who'd been knocked down but got back up swinging. That night, walking home through the neon glow of the streets, I didn't look back. Emily's betrayal, Michael's arrogance, Sarah's double cross, they were history. I was starting over, my way, and nobody was going to drag me down again. The game was over, and I'd won.